right, we're going to go ahead and record, and we're going to see what happens with Facebook Live here. So, Randy Sabalik, you're on.
Hi, welcome to the Friday edition of Richardson Plano Networkers. And today it's Stay Connected and Thrive in COVID-19. And our featured guest today is Sean Murphy. I met Sean months ago when we used to have a group down at Jenna Apgar's with David and others. And what I really was impressed about him is his diversity of information that was really applicable to the kind of things that you all do. So I'm going to mostly read his bio. Sean Murphy is an internationally respected and known marketing executive. He's a speaker, a trainer, and a consultant. He's been a network marketing professional for almost 14 years, spending years in the field as a distributor, building large sales organization, and over 5 years in founder, senior executive, and senior consultant roles, helping to build and manage network marketing companies and assist in their international expansion. I'm willing to bet that some of the tools that he's going to talk about today can help several of you, several of our members, improve their businesses. As before, I'm certain Sean will have information helpful to us all. Please welcome Sean Murphy.
Randy, hey, look at all the claps. Listen, I hope you're ready for a little excitement and enthusiasm, because that's kind of what I'm known for. And I got to find where this, because I've done about 20 hours of interviews this week, and some people have that particular introduction. I'm not sure where they found it, because it's now 22 years in the profession. So, but I feel much younger when Randy reads that. Hey, everybody, my name's Sean Murphy. Yeah, I'm a farm boy from Ohio. My first sales job was 5 years old, selling corn off a hay wagon. Barely made it through high school, drove by a lot of colleges. I've been involved in the networking profession for 22 years, sales for 30 plus years, been in the study of the human mind, why it does what it does for the last 20 years. I've stood on stage in 30 countries, been translated and speaking and training in countries in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I've been translated into over 40 languages. I'm a 3-time #1 best-selling author on Amazon. You know what that gets, y'all? Not even enough money for a good cowboy hat. Here's what we're going to have a conversation about today. Addiction to approval. Right now, everybody is a little bit scared. Most people out there are scared. If they're scared, they're not on this call. Let me just put it that way. And there's a lot more people who could be on this call. There's a lot more people who are part of this community. And the scared is not that they even know it. It's the loss of control. So how do you survive and thrive? I was the MC of an online event last night that went for 2 hours. And we had world changers and thought leaders on, talking to people and individuals. What do I do? How do I stay active? One question that was, listen, I've been home. I've walked my dog. I've been in the pool. I've been in the hot tub. I've gone through my closet. I've cleaned out everything. How do I stay busy? Right? So questions like that. We're entrepreneurs. If we were in the brick and mortar location, and now we're in the click and order conversation, the question is how do we acquire customers? How do we start to brand ourselves with a new model, a new vision, a new story? And the reason some of us might have some issues with that and some troubles and challenges is because we don't have a place for somebody to check out our resume, right? So I think it was Mock who does the printing, right? Somebody can easily look in printing. They kind of know what their printing is. Some of you have sales training. They understand what that is. Some of you may be going to Linda because maybe their income has been cut off and they may be wanting to get an appraisal to possibly sell jewelry. The reason that anybody's going to find you right now is because they're a little scared. I come out of, I spent 7 years doing presentations in the front of the room for estate planning. Estate planning is through the roof. Absolutely through the roof. 30-year-olds are getting their estates in order. You know what field they particularly come out of? The medical field. These things that are happening to people right now, the scaredness that's happening to people right now. Homa, who's helping people get beautiful, right? And she's now online, now via Zoom. there may be a little back off on that, right? Because it's a luxury item, but tell a woman to not look beautiful is a luxury item. There's going to be such a huge demand, and there's going to be so much luxury items bought. There's going to be so many conversations as people start to get back to some level of normalness. It'll never be normal. It'll never be back the way it was. People are addicted to approval. And now the challenge is nobody's going to want to ever admit that they're scared. So what are you doing in your business? What are you doing in your business to give them a level of confidence that might not even be with what you're dealing with? See, I come out of the network marketing world. I come out of this profession of MLM, me loving more. I've been able to build an organization internationally of over 30,000 people in the last 18 months. I've been into the markets physically probably 20, 30 times. Not a whole lot. But my point is this: how are you able to build an organization internationally without having to have the handshakes and everything else, especially in the Latino market, which is extremely relationship based? It's about being able to tell the story. If I were to ask your number one client, this is a business conversation we're having right here. If I were to ask your number one client to give you a testimonial about you, would you feel comfortable putting that up online? The next question is that, would I find it up online today? Is it already there? And if it's not already there, I'm going to encourage you, start getting some testimonials from your community, right? If you talk about how good you are, that's bragging. If I talk about how good you are, man, that's credibility. Right now, every one of your businesses could use some more testimonials. Because if you've had ones up there, you've got no new, nobody's knowing what you're talking about. Nobody believes there's anything new you're doing, because your resume is going to be at the end of this year, fourth quarter, they're going to say, what did you do during the crisis? Who did you help? What Zooms did you do? I'm on a Zoom from 6:30 in the morning when I do my call. My calls are normally 1 hour in the morning, the Daily Awakening. They're going 2 and 3 hours now. Why? Because I've got these kids on, and I say kids, they're in their 20s. They're in their 30s. They're from all over the world, Europe, South America, the islands. They're all on here, and they're coming because they can't find a place to find some leadership. I'm looking at the list right here in front of me. If you don't have millennials running around asking you, knocking on your door, begging at your feet, saying, can I sit and listen to you? I'm going to encourage you. You might be missing out on a huge market. Can they buy your stuff? No, but you know who they tell? Everyone on social media. I did an event. I interviewed Les Brown last Saturday. Now, Les Brown's a pretty well-known name, right? But I'm telling you this from a marketing standpoint. I got the approval to go live with Les. We were going to start it on Monday last week. Monday last week was when we were supposed to do it, or a week previous. I didn't get the go-ahead from Les. I didn't get the confirmation to start promoting for Les until Thursday. Now I've got a room just like Dave has, the 500-seat room, and I'm going, man, I only got 36 hours. Can I fill it? Now, to get somebody online for a webinar, you got to like double it, right? So maybe you need 1,000 people. I'm like, man, where am I going to get 1,000 people? I've got my list. If 20% holds true, I'll get X amount. Well, I had 1,300 people sign up for the event before it started. 1,300 people in less than 36 hours. I say that to say because it was these communities of people that I had already poured into. I didn't have all their email addresses. They were on social media, but I didn't have all their email addresses. Guess what I have now? 1,300 new emails. So my point is this: I would encourage every one of you has some kind of authority. Homa, I'll invite you onto a call to teach how to just do some touch up and makeup. What's the simple thing to do? If you're not leveraging each other and cross promoting each other, not just here at this event, but doing a Zoom, bringing Karen on, teaching people how to use that little booklet. It ain't a little booklet. It is a powerful booklet. I've seen it. I've watched her create it over the last year. Right? Linda, talking to people. There's going to be people that are looking, well, they don't even know who to trust. I mean, I've got this fear that's so strong that my mother instilled in me. If I were to take my wedding ring in, it's got diamonds all over it. My bride actually loves me, so I'm surprised all the time. But they said, don't let it out of your sight. Don't ever let it out of your sight. right? Linda, you get that. People are like, well, I don't want it to go in the back room because they may take a diamond out. It's like, you know what? I'm sure maybe there's somebody that does that. My point is, so Align, I'm sorry, I'm not saying Oliveira. I know how to say Oliveira. So Oliveira, Miss Oliveira, you talk coming online, teaching about what are the simple things in real estate. Every one of you has a key concept, and you should be leveraging each other to cross-promote and cross-pollinate your communities. If you think you're in this by yourself, guess what? You're in this by yourself. So, what are some of the things you can do to thrive right now? Tell your story, get some testimonials, do some more lives, do some more Zooms. Ask people, I promise you, ask people, whose Zoom can you get on? Whose Zoom can you get on? Whose Zoom can you have a conversation on? Yeah, but that's not my audience. I'm going to tell you, if you're not preparing for that to be your audience when you come out of this, your audience isn't coming back the way it came back. If Zoom went from 10 million to 200 million users, do you think they're going to turn off their Zoom? Do you know how many birthday parties that were had on Zoom? Do you know how many graduations were had? Do you know how many weddings were had on Zoom? I'm telling you, graduation is coming up. Guess where they're going to be doing their graduation parties? And this whole thing, grandma is getting on learning how to use Zoom because she's watching her great-grandchildren have their first birthday party. If you're not going to go take advantage of them being on the Zoom, if they know how to get on a link, listen, I've had people who are in their 70s going, what's your room number? I'm like, what are you talking about? Your Zoom room number. I'm like, how do you even know that? And they go, because that's how I see my grandbabies. They didn't used to see their grandbabies all the time. Now they see them almost every day. Now the kids are going, oh my God, Granny wants to do another Zoom. Here's the challenge. Homa, you're right. We're staying the most connected. But here's the thing about social media has kept us more connected, but it has kept us more social distanced than any social distancing we could ever do. So I'm going to ask you to be a little bit more human, a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more. I love the fact that I'm looking into some folks' living rooms and kitchens. If you got dogs and they run into the screen, you know what? That makes you human. So this addiction to approval that we have, what I had no longer exists. Now what do I do? Well, what is the core? Previously, as you were building your business, whether it be face-to-face, hand-to-hand, however it was, they come into your store, they come in, you have a phone conversation, there's still a core of what you do. Being able to do it more just makes it a lot easier now. Being able to have a community of individuals, I would encourage you to start doing some trainings on your topic. Listen, I started off December 18th, 2018, doing my morning show. I had 16 people on it. Some days I had 2 people on it. That's because they forgot they weren't supposed to be on it. But now here it is, 422 shows later, right? I had put in all of the work. I get Les Brown, who on a Monday, a very dear friend of mine goes, I love what you're doing on your shows. Do you want Les? I go, yeah, I'll take them any Saturday. They said, how about this Saturday? And now I got an hour-long conversation with Les Brown and his son, John Leslie Brown. Why? Because I put in the work. This isn't coming back the way it is. There'll be an semblance of it, but even if you're ready for it to go back and be able to perform the way you did before, your audience isn't going to be looking for that. Everybody keeps saying this pivot. Pivot means turn away. I would say there's going to be a reconditioning. You're going to have a new reconditioned formula called your success. And you've got some people on here that can give you some guidance on that, right? The warrior versus zombie, I'd get on that. I'd make sure you'd be listening to that, because there's going to be some people who are going to come out of this as a zombie in their business, and we're going to look at them and go, my gosh, what century are you from trying to do business? It has changed. That's apparent. How fast can you get? What Wayne Gretzky would say, how do you become the best ice hockey player in the world? Skate to where the puck is going to be. We all see where the puck's going to be. It's going to be online. So here's the other question for you. What little giveaway do you have that you can PDF somebody, you can email somebody? What little simple autoresponder can you set up? You don't have to go out and get a full contact mapping or Kartra or funnels. You don't need to do all of that. Let people send you an email. Create a new Gmail account. That any email account that goes in there, you check it every night, you send them a PDF file. Get my specialty at gmail.com. Get whatever it is, but create something. You don't have to go spend a whole bunch of money, but people are wanting to know, hey, listen, how do I learn more about you? Give them a reason. If somebody said they wanted to learn more about you, where would I go? Would I go online? Can I Google you? Have you Googled you lately? What comes up when you Google you? All of these little simple things. Though that's marketing. You're great at your sales. You can have a conversation with somebody and do what Zig Ziglar says, transference of enthusiasm. You can do that. You know your product. You have your stuff down. But how are you branded? How do you stand out from the noise right now? If 10 million to 200 million went on Zoom, what do you think those 200 are also learning about? Those 200 million, that 190 new million customers. Can you imagine what would your business be like? What are they doing? They're now being able to search for stuff. They're now accustomed to, you got 190 new million people. If you said, listen, I'm going to do a Zoom on training, I'm going to do some giveaways, some typical topics that my customers are looking for. I don't care if it's a grandma or a CEO, they know how to get on a Zoom. There was a woman last night on the call. She runs a modeling agency in California. For years, people have been trying to get her on a Zoom. In the last 3 weeks, she learned how to get on a Zoom. And you know what? She's been booked every day since. You've got a story. You have a story. The world is looking for it. Listen, guys, you can plug your ears for just a second. Ladies, I need you to pay attention for just a second. Y'all heard of the Dalai Lama? He said not too long ago, the world will be saved by the Western woman. I'd venture to say just take the Western out, but this transition that we've been through, this idea that we've been through, there's going to be a kinder, gentler world that comes out of this. And ladies, I'm going to encourage you, and I will help you any way I can to take your position, because it's going to be you that saves this world. The idea of go get them is going to change to the idea of go give them. We need that ability to have that strong level-headedness as we come out of this. I get hit up a lot for that. I get ridiculed a lot for that. Wait a minute, you're this guy talking about women saving the world? Yeah, well, I know my mom saved me many a time. And I think that's where we need to, that's going to be coming forward. So this idea that you stepping out, leading, guiding, giving your ability and your concern and your love back to the world, it's going to be a necessary thing. And those that adapt to it faster will just wind up with a bigger audience. Right now, I would be encouraging you to build your audience, because the testimonials coming out of this, of what people did. What did you do BC before Corona? What did you do AC after Corona? There's going to be some stories of people talking about what you've done during this time, this week, this weekend. So this addiction to approval, that it's going to be the way it was, we all know that's not true. So my question to you is this: what's your new story? What's your new story? What's your giveaway? What's your thank you to your current customer base? How many of you have reached out to your current customers and said thank you, to your old customers and said thank you? I have a friend of mine, we're in business together. She's got 180,000 names in her phone. Takes 17 days to do a transfer when she gets a new phone. 180,000 contacts in her phone. She went through one day and sent out 2,000 messages in a day. Hey, just checking on you. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Check back in with me. Let me know if you're okay. Copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. How many of you have sent out thank you messages? My team, they got to send out 100 a day. The ones who personally work with me, 300 a day. Thank yous, just thank yous. You want to change the state of the universe, change the energy in your own world. There is no economy out there. Listen, some of you may be doing extraordinarily well. Some of you may not be doing well at all. Neither of you care about my economy. So there is no global economy. Yes, we see this global pandemic, but there's only your economy. There's only your business world. How many thank yous did you say yesterday? And if you can count them on both hands, I'm going to encourage you that's not enough for your business. This is a business conversation. If you didn't say more than 10 thank yous, if you didn't say 50 or 60, 70 thank yous yesterday, you've got some room to grow right now. And I promise you, this loss of control that people are looking for, they're trying to decide where to put their energy. And if you're the one showing up, thanking them for being a previous customer, finding out something they've done, if they gave a nice post on Facebook that was powering, moving them forward, you should go type in a chat. Just don't click like, hey, listen, I really appreciate your comments here. You want to find people start following you back, people start tracking you back, people start instant messaging you. What do? Because you watch, there'll be a lot more likes than there are comments, and the ratios are going down. The comments are going up and the ratios are going down. People are afraid to make a comment. You want to stand out from your audience? Go make a comment on somebody's post. Tell them you appreciate them. Your business will grow. I have been more busy since the middle of January. My company did had $1 million day, the 15th. And month over month, this month over last month, we're already another 13% ahead of last month. Why? Because we found a way to thank people better than anybody else, thank them faster than anybody else, and give them something they've lost in this whole pandemic, the ability to have control back in their own life. So David, I'm going to end there and let's do some Q&A if anybody's got any.
All right. Thanks, Sean. That was awesome. You can feel free to put your hand claps in the, I'm leaving you guys muted. I'm actually going to bring up grid view now so I can see everybody. If you have a specific question,
you can raise your hand. If you click on the chat button, there's the raise your hand button. You can raise your hand.
You can raise your hand or whatever if you have a question, and I'll bring you on so we don't get a lot of background and clipping going on. But anybody have any thoughts, questions for Sean? Randy, okay, you're open.
Sean, you talked about doing a Zoom show, which in my genre sounds like a podcast. Is it? And how does one do a Zoom show versus the podcast?
So the podcast is just the audio, and that's kind of an interview. If we turned all of our cameras off, this would be a podcast. But I do my Zoom every morning, and just like this, 100, 120 people come on every morning inside of a meeting room. I lead it. Sometimes I'll do PowerPoint. Sometimes I'll do some trainings. But then I have people raise their hand, and we open a question, and it's a live Q&A. So it's this dialogue back and forth. So it's just like this, what we're doing right here. And when you set up the Zoom, if you decide to do that, you can set up the same link day after day after day. This is the same link that's been since January 1st for this year. So however many days that is, it's the same link. So anytime one person has it, they can just store that and they come in and everybody comes in and shows up at 6:30 in the morning for me. So yeah, it's the same thing as a podcast. It's just like today we went 3 hours again. But I had 4 women who absolutely broke some chains of addiction from the story of their mom or this, that, or the other. And the thing is that there's other people usually on the call at the same time that can speak into them. So it's more of a mastermind than just me spouting off for an hour or 2 hours. But this is right now, what we're doing is exactly what I do every morning.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that.
You bet, Randy. Thank you.
Anybody else? Just kind of Ricky Jean.
I see Oma's hand up.
Yeah, I got Ricky Jean right.
Got it. Hey, Ricky Jean.
Well, you caught my attention with the having gratitude. I've discovered in life that the beginning of happiness is being thankful. And if you can't start there, well, then you're starting off on the wrong foot, so to speak. And so you apply that to every aspect of your life, and life is better.
You know, here's the science behind that, Ricky Jean. you know, there's people who run around that are a little bit more grumpier than most, and there's some that run around a little bit happier than most. You want to know the funny thing is they can actually do a PET scan on you and tell which the left prefrontal cortex stores the negative neurons and the right prefrontal cortex stores the positive. They can actually count the number of negative and positive neurons and say, you got more positive. My guess is you're going to have a little bit better day than most. And if you got more negative, you'll have a little bit more negative. The thing is that we can actually change that. Could you imagine insurance rate 50 years from now, 60 years from now, when they give you all of these tests and everything else and they go, ooh, positive versus negative. Oh, you got a little bit more negative. We're going to put that in the, right? When you go do your life insurance, they ask you if you're on any prescription. Imagine if it also says, let's see, negative count versus positive count. It's this little subline in an insurance form that says, a little negative. Okay, your premium just went up.
Hey, Mako, I see you. I'm going to go to Homa next, and then I'll come to you. Homie, you want me to unmute you or you?
Oh, I'm unmuted. Hi, Sean. Thank you so much. This is very inspirational. Quick question for you. You said that you're doing different Zooms, and I've started to venture into that space as well with instead of in-person appointments. How do you confirm people or commit a certain number of people to show up? Do you do incentives, or do you just spread it to a lot of numbers and the right numbers show up? So what is your tip on that?
Well, so a couple of things was, for the Les Brown, right, for a particular event, I said whoever had the most signed up invites would get to ask Les Brown a question. So there was an immediate reward because, right, we want that instant reward. You might be able to do some promotional items. You know, anybody who comes in for us in the networking business, it's raffles are a good thing, right? Because you get a whole bunch of raffles, put them in. Like I did a raffle yesterday. Was it yesterday? Day before? I had a conversation with Kyle Wilson, Jim Rome's former president for 18 years, and I said, who remembers the other farm boy from Idaho? I'm a farm boy from Ohio. Who remembers the farm boy from Idaho, the philosopher? If you type their name in the chat, I'll give you $25. I'll put you in a drawing. So I had about 35 people who wouldn't normally comment on my post, right? So then I could reach out to them in instant messenger. Hey, thanks for being this. Thanks for being that. But yeah, if you do a drawing, listen, I'm going to do a simple makeup tip on eyeliner or on just a very small portion of it. Right. And then you do what's called in sales, the mumble marketing. So not only do we do the eyeliner, but we've got the foundation. But the foundation, you can learn more about that on my call on Thursday. Oh, the foundation. What do I need to know about that? And the drawing today is blah, 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 blah.
Cool.
That help?
Stuff. Yeah, that's really good. Let me see. I'm going to open up. Mako, you need me to unmute you, or can you handle it?
I got it. Hey, Sean, you struck not a nerve, but a point with me on the testimonials. So yeah. I'm thinking I'm going to grab my iPhone and start doing, quick testimonials with some of my customers during this kind of slow time. How long would you recommend? And I'm thinking of just posting them on Facebook and some other pages like that I'm networking with other people. Or do you have other areas to post those kind of videos?
So a couple of things. One, is that actually the Beatles behind you, or is that's a green screen kind of backdrop?
I took a picture of my old album cover and stuck my younger face there.
So, oh, there it is. So let me share something with you. And Homa, I'd share the same with you. You've got Mary Kay up there, and anybody that has a backdrop, if you've got a testimonial that's from a customer, Homa, you see where that blue sky is? Drop it in there. So put it on a PowerPoint, that same picture, and drop in the testimonial. See, if I were to show you this, so this is how I do my Zooms every morning. Let me just show you. Bum, bum, bum. So there I am with Les Brown. There I am with my 3 best-selling books, right? And as I move around and as I have conversations, there's all of these little things. If you're into marketing, you can market your whole company without having to say a thing.
Sweet.
Does that make sense, Mako?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So all of a sudden now, so what I've done in the past is when somebody has sent me this heart-wrenching testimonial, it would go all right down here. I would pull all of that stuff. So now I'm drawing their eyes to that. I'd never say a thing. But I've had more people message me and go, I read that testimonial, and I'd be like, what testimonial? I didn't read no testimonials. They go, no, the one that was in your backdrop. Oh yeah. How do I set up coaching with you? Well, Funny you should ask. But listen, we've got all of these ways to mumble market, and testimonials can go right there.
Great. Thank you.
You bet.
Who else we got? Anybody else? Give me a wave. Anybody any other questions? Scanning the group. I got a question for you, Sean.
Sure.
So you mentioned a couple of times and nobody dropped off the call. So I want to make sure that we all are on the same page here. You mentioned that you're an expert in network marketing. And I know that there's some of the folks on the call that are on network marketing or in network marketing companies. And there are some people that would never be caught dead in a network marketing company. And what I've found is people that have learned or grown up and actually been successful in network marketing companies are some of the best, most sharing people I've ever encountered in my entire life. And those who struggle to do that or whatever are the people that people don't ever want to be. And I'd really be interested, I know this isn't like COVID-19, but part of it is rebranding or creating the image that we want to create. So what advice would you give to people that are either in network marketing organizations like HOMA, like, Rob, like there's a few people here that are in those, and some people that their side hustles and stuff. What would you say about that?
So let's look at some stats, right? Facts tell, stories sell. But let me give you some facts before I tell you a story. Prior to COVID-19, there were 60 million Americans currently participating in the gig economy. What's the gig economy? Etsy, Uber, Lyft, people who wanted flexibility. 85% of any woman that was participating in a gig economy had every woman that was participating had an 85% chance they would tell somebody about that economy. So far it sounds like network marketing. The challenge is that here's the big thing. Sadhguru says too many people are putting authority in something they have no authority over. Everybody is struggling. The reason everybody stands in line at Costco for toilet paper, if you really did the math, somebody on TikTok did the math, some dad did the math on toilet paper, you'd have to go poop like 6 times a day for 3 months to use the toilet paper you just bought. But the reason we do that is because we wanted control. So people are trying to put their authority back into a place they can find control. Every one of you on this call can teach people how to find control through what you do very well, whether it's buying a home, selling their jewelry, getting their documents, their life end documents in place, getting insurance, you name it, you can give them back the control they seek. 200 million people just went online. I would want to have an online business. I would want to have something that's fun, simple, and magical. If you never thought about doing this business, if you thought this was poo-poo and oh my gosh, let me let you in on a little secret. The industries that are growing right now are our industries, the home-based business industry. You could be the guy and say, well, yeah, you could be IBM and go, yeah, but I don't know that home computer thing is ever going to work. So I'm not telling you to get into the business. I'm saying I'd figure out a way to find yourself into the business because I'm going to get a whole bunch of tax write-offs that you didn't. Why? Because I have a home-based business.
Right.
So there's so many financial benefits once you get over the ego of it's one of those things. Yeah, maybe you got burnt. Listen, I thought it was an arm's reach away from purse snatching when I got started 22 years ago. Now, I love what it can do for the people, but I hate what it does to the people. Right now, there's going to be people out there going, and there's going to be people who are absolutely going to give us another black eye, another level of black eye, because they're going to say, yeah, how's your job working now? That's a pretty good job, right? How's that going? You got fired, you dumbass. And they're going to do all of this stuff, and they're going to go, you should be doing what I do. There's going to be plenty of them. But you know who's going to make a difference? Is somebody like a Homa that teaches a grandmother how to look pretty for her kids online again, right? She's not going to be able to go get all of the things done that she wants. If you deal with a senior population, you're going to have to go online. They're not coming to a room anytime soon unless you're going to guarantee them, well, I'm only going to seat seats 6 feet apart. you're going to have to figure out how to build your community online. Network marketing is a great way to teach you that. Even if it's to go get the skills, how do you build a Facebook group? Do you know how to do that? I've got groups with 60 and 70,000 people in it. I have one of my friends who has 1.7 million followers on her Facebook page. You wouldn't stand in line behind her at the grocery store. Why do 1.7 million people follow her? Because she's this real, raw individual and she provides value and an escape. This business that's happening right now, the opportunity to find something that's simple, fun, and magical, people are needing that right now. Our business in Latin America, they never used to do Zooms. Part of the 200 million that went online, I bet a bunch was down in Latin America because they were always face-to-face, hand-to-hand, belly-to-belly. But you know what? They just realized they don't have to get on a bus for an hour to go meet somebody for 15 minutes to deliver them product. So this idea of network marketing, I'm going to ask you to take the letters MLM and turn it into me loving more. Every one of you has a huge heart and you want to give back to your customers. You absolutely do. You absolutely do. And part of us are starving to be able to give back. We have no place to give all of this good stuff, this energy we have, and it gets pent up and turned into something else. You keep water from flowing, it becomes stagnant. Start. You're going to screw up. Your first one's going to be your worst one. Screw up, fail faster, because the guy that started yesterday is already ahead of you. Start. Listen. Oliveria, I would do cooking. I mean, I'm not saying you like to cook, but I do cooking. How do you have children with a simple nod? Yes or no? No?
No.
No.
I don't do anything. I just have a dog.
Cooks for her dog.
So you have a dog. So what are you doing? How are you walking? Right? Maybe you can put a little bandana around his nose or whatever, but find this way to tell your story.
Yeah, we did. So I am from Brazil and I am the Latina person that you're talking about. Like, I hate being in front of the camera. I hate being, on social media, but I love people and I hate quarantine. So what I did, I made a little, postcard with a photo of my husband and myself and our dog. And I wrote like, hey neighbors, this is me, this is my husband, that's what we do. As soon as quarantine stops, we're going to throw a party and you guys should come over. And in the back, I said, I'm a real estate agent and I'm so blessed to be in this neighborhood because I truly love here. And if you want to know the value of your home, give me send me a message. Or if you have a business, send me your information, business information, and we can start a partnership. And I had at least 3 people that reached out to me. Awesome. And of course, one person shoved my postcard in my mailbox.
Right. So here's a little. Could I give you just one little piece of advice? So here's the thing. Rather than say, "Would you like to know the value of your home?" Say, "Can you believe the values? How much the values have jumped?" And just leave it at that. And then I would always sign it because you're the one with the Brazilian accent. I would always sign everything obrigado. And they go, what is an obrigado? Is that like a dinner? What is that? A breakfast quiche? But tag yourself, right? As the Brazilian. Because you've got the accent. It ain't going away as much as you think it maybe like slipped away. I could totally hear it, but so just leverage it. Obrigado. And I would just, whatever, right? So.
That's great, Sean. I think, let's see, I can get one more question if anybody has it, and then we're gonna land the plane at 1. So anybody else, any other questions for Sean? That was an awesome response, Sean. I'm sure all the people that have been in the network marketing business for a while, or that's part of who they are, appreciate your candor and your insight there, because most people are afraid of or don't understand things they don't know. So Randy, I'm going to give you one short chance to say something before we land the plane.
Okay, if somebody else wants to talk, I cede it to them. But Sean, I struggled with some of what you said because as a consultant, it's a pretty boring business, at least on face value. It's hard to get testimonials, and it's hard for me to figure out, what's a clear message other than the fact that I took businesses from losing money to making money and shrinking to growing?
So, Randy, would you say, I know there's 101 steps, but would you say there's more than, how many steps would somebody be if you came in and you said you need to do these number of steps to at least stop the bleeding? What would you say that number of steps are? Just the basic bare, but you've got to, these are the Band-Aids on the bullet wounds. What would you say?
10 basic steps.
So you're going to say, I'm going to do a webinar for the 3 basic steps, the 3 most critical steps to keep your business alive and survive. You go with 1, 2, and 3. Listen, there's 7 more. If you'd like to be a part of that, send me an email and we'll put you in a private chat group, or we'll put you on a private Zoom. But if you've got 10, give away the 3. And it could be 1, 6, and 8. And here's how you do it. I'm going to give you away the 3. I'm going to give you number 1, number 6, and number 8. Somebody's going, well, where the hell are the rest of the numbers? Well, you got to email me for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
And listen, you get to sit with your cigar, and I know you don't smoke, but you get to sit with your cigar and your piece of your brandy and going, listen, all I want to do is save you money right now. Everybody is bleeding right now. You can ask them, have you filed for your SBA loan? They've already hit 382 billion. Do you realize how big these care packages are getting? We used to laugh at $500 million care package. Now it's 2 trillion care package.
Yeah.
They're only going to get bigger and bigger. So Randy, you get to sit there and say, in my 55 years, here's the 10 things I've learned that I've saved companies. Number 1, 7, and 10. Where's the other one? Send me a private message. Let's figure out how we do consulting together.
Awesome. Great insights. Okay, guys, we've got 3 minutes, so I'm going to land the plane, and I'm going to land it with gratitude. Sean, thank you for sharing with us. It was priceless. As I always say, everybody here has shared a very priceless gift, because this, whether we liked it or not, this hour and a half or hour, how much time you invested in this, you can't get back. But this was well worth any investment. There's a lot of nuggets that you've shared. I appreciate you, and want to kind of give everybody a heads up. Next Friday, we're going to do, this is still along this theme of thriving, connecting to thrive in COVID-19. And our guest next Friday will be Scott Schilling. So if you know,
I'm signing up for that one.
So yeah, so Scott will be here. Scott also has a lot of experience in this space, and he's shared with us before, as Sean has. And so I know those of you who know Scott, and invite one of your friends, invite somebody that would benefit. If you thought this was valuable today, and you don't leave here, you talk about being grateful and talk about sharing, right? You just participated in something. If it added value, what are you going to do? Keep it to yourself? Or are you going to invite somebody to next Friday? How much has it costed you to be here other than the investment of your time? Nothing. How much benefit will potentially that person get out of some of the nuggets they'll get from Sean Murphy today, or Scott Schilling next week, or Shannon McGraw the week after? I mean, we've got things going on, guys, and invite your friends. This is a time that we can grow our influence through growing our network. So encourage you to do that. I don't have any other real announcements. The regular networking is still occurring in my world. So we still have Cheers on Monday night with Ricky Jean, and that's an intimate group, but we run about 15, 20 people depending on the day. And it's a different format. It's more about connecting and relationships. And then we have our Wednesday meeting and our Friday meeting. And probably when we get to the 1st of May, we'll probably have the Men's Breakfast Network via Zoom again. So anyway, guys, just stay connected. If you need anything, literally from this group, reach out to me via, the schedule a time with me if you want to have a one-to-one call or a meeting, and do the same with anybody else in this. Take some time. I think we're all here, and even though the introverts in the room are thankful to be away from people too much, guys like me are suffering. So So I enjoy the connection and look forward to our opportunities here. So we're going to call it a night. I call it a day. It's 1 p.m. I'm going to leave the Zoom up for a few minutes just so that you can make sure, if you don't know how to save the chat, go to your chat window, and there's, depending on what kind of platform you're on, it either says more or 3 dots, and then just say save the chat, and so that you can then go back to it and print it out and see what people were sharing with. But again, Sean, thank you. It's been a blessing.
Appreciate you. Tomorrow we do our calls 7 days a week. Tomorrow's 8:30, right? Central Standard Time. Personalundevelopment.com. Where's it? Over here, up there.
There you go.
Personalundevelopment.com. Feel free to join us. There's no fee. And yeah, and if I can be of service, just reach out, Sean@SeanGMurphy.com. That's my email address, Sean@SeanGMurphy.com. Dave, I want to thank you for continuing to do this. This is, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of work. I know that. Thanks for all of the audience for contributing, because, you know, if it was you and me talking, we'd both be out for a walk. We wouldn't be able to help anybody or lead anybody. So thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hey,
have a
good to
good
see
one.
you.
Have a nice weekend. Be safe out there.
Y'all the same. Blessings on y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sean. Your tips were worth whatever consulting fee you want to charge me.
Thank you.
I love it.
See you. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Yeah, have a beautiful weekend.
Cheers.
Still there, Dave?
Yep, I'm just giving a little bit of time here. Hang on just a second. I'm going to stop the recording here.